Welcome everybody to the August 27, 2013 meeting of the Transportation Licensing Commission. I think we get this thing started with Pledge of Allegiance. If you'd all rise and join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. And as required at every meeting, the appeal of decisions from the Metropolitan Transportation Licensing Commission. Pursuant to the provisions of Section 2.68.030 of the Metropolitan Code of Laws, notice is hereby given that if you are not satisfied with the decision made by the Metropolitan Transportation Licensing Commission, you may appeal the decision by petitioning for a writ of certiorari with the Davidson County Chancery or Circuit Court. Your appeal must be filed within 60 days of the date of the entry of the Metropolitan Transportation Licensing Commission's decision. We advise that you seek your own independent legal advice to ensure that your appeal is filed in a timely manner and that all procedural requirements have been met. We're on to the approval of minutes, which I believe were distributed by staff. Assuming you've all read the minutes, are there any changes? I have a motion to approve.
I make a motion to approve the minutes.
I have a motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. We're on to taxi cabs. And the first item of the agenda is a request by Taxi USA for a color scheme change for one Nashville cab. Mr. Fields, do we need to do anything special on this?
I think it's just an issue of inviting them to describe what they want to do and consider whether you want to approve it.
Okay. Is Mr. Sal? There you go.
Good afternoon, thank you. You might know or not know, in the past, the last couple of years, we've operated a pink taxi cab for breast cancer awareness. We decided to take on another cancer, which is ovarian cancer. September is Ovarian Cancer Awareness Month, and we intend to have this taxi cab on the road hopefully in the first week of September, if approved by you, and operate it for the next year at least, if not further. What comes along with these taxi cabs is we donate money, obviously, to the American Cancer Society, specifically earmarked for these specific cancers. And this ovarian cancer will get $5,000 from us this year and see what happens next year as we proceed if approved.
Okay. How's the pink cab?
Great.
Still
People
going
love
strong?
it. Yes, sir.
Still pink?
It's still pink.
How many of them were you going to?
Just one.
Just one.
Just one. We have one pink cab as well, as you see in the handout.
I don't see a problem with this. Does
Yeah.
anybody?
I don't.
Does anybody see a problem with it?
Is there any, I guess a question for Billy, is that color, does it interfere with any other companies?
It's a different enough color that it will not interfere with any operation.
Okay.
I make a motion that we approve the request.
Second.
I have a motion in a couple of seconds. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next on the agenda, we have a request by Taxi USA again for a company name change and a color scheme change. Mr. Fields?
This presents a little bit different issue from the standpoint of there have been a couple of objections raised by a couple of the companies, not on the name change, but on the color schemes. So we want to make sure that again, they'll do the same, they'll need to make the same presentation to you, and then at that point, you'll decide how you want to proceed with
All right.
making a determination.
And this would be for how many cabs? Is it all of
36.
36?
100 taxi.
Okay. All right, well, Mr. Solomon, you want to run us through this?
Again, Michael Solomon, Taxi USA of Tennessee. We operate Taxi, this brand of taxi in other cities, and decided that maybe we should operate that here in Nashville as well. We operate 1-800 Taxi Cab, which is a franchise brand name that belongs to somebody else. We have those rights. We operate their brand. We want to operate our own brand. We operate this color scheme in various cities and want to adopt that same thing here in Nashville, which has yellow down the side, gray and black, gray and yellow checkers above the door line, and the hood and the back of the car is black. You have photos of it that indicate what that is. So we believe it's distinctively different, uniquely beautiful, and the public loves it. I mean, wherever we put them, they're in demand. And we deployed this brand in Raleigh that has 736 some odd taxi cabs. Today, 12 weeks later, we have 45 cabs on the road, 40 drivers on a waiting list, and 35 cabs in make-ready. All brand, in that case, they're all brand new Toyota Prius and Sienna vans. In this case, we convert this 1-800 taxi cab brand to mimic the same color scheme and style. And all the modalities of apps and operation, nothing changes in the way we operate. Just the way it looks is going to change.
I like the way it looks.
Are you gonna take existing cabs?
They'll change all of our existing cabs.
So the existing
Exactly.
cabs.
The existing cabs will
Painted,
repaint them all, even though they
wrapped.
were all just painted, the 36 cabs and 1-800 taxi cab. Even though they're all new paint jobs now, we're gonna start over and convert them to these with a different top sign and the way it looks. It's cleaner, it's neater, it's easier to see, and it's gotten some great public opinion, so they appear to like it. I think that your visitors and guests will as well.
How do you feel that it would compete with the other companies with the same?
Well, I think it's distinctively different. I mean, the code requires that we're not infringing on their style. I mean, obviously, 1-800 taxi cab, we have orange down the side of the car, and Volunteers got orange. Our Nashville cab and Allied cab are white vehicles with one with blue letters and one with red letters. Other companies have those colors as well. We made as much of that car not yellow as possible to keep it distinctively different, but yellow enough to make it unique and visibly pleasing. I mean, this paint job costs about $850 to put on this cab. It's just a beautiful, I mean, it just changes the image of what a taxi cab is out there on the road. And they'll all be exactly the same color, yellow.
Is Taxi a corporation that you own in
It's a-
different cities?
Taxi is a DBA. We own the name Taxi, and we operate that as our own franchise. We haven't sold it to anybody else to use. We operate it ourselves in the various cities, and we have 3 other cities besides here. We're new cities that we're starting, and they're going to be going into Lexington, Knoxville, Louisville.
And they're all gonna look the same?
They're all going to look the same, that's correct. They're in Palm Beach now and in Raleigh now.
Maybe we should all take a trip to Palm Beach to check it
I
out.
think that'd be a great experience.
Any other questions from the commission for Mr. Sullivan? Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Fields, you mentioned some objections have been raised.
Both checker and yellow have raised objections. As I advised them, this is not a public hearing, but the commission owns the meeting. So you have the right to proceed in that manner. I did share with you rule or Metro Ordinance 6.72200, which talks about vehicle to display company name, color scheme, insignia, and numbering, showing the restrictions. And if I may I read Rule B that applies directly to this?
Please.
It says, "No vehicle covered by the terms of this chapter shall be licensed which bears a color scheme, identifying design, monogram, or insignia which, in the opinion of the Metropolitan Licensing Commission, conflicts with or imitates other color schemes, identifying design, monogram, and insignia used by the vehicle in such a manner to be misleading or tends to deceive or defraud the public." So it's very specific about why you would or you would not.
Yeah, I don't think this,
You're saying misleading, deceiving, or defrauding.
Right.
I don't think this is misleading, that it looks that,
The name alone would not be misleading. There's nothing like taxi
Right.
out there. What are the other ones with yellow and black? Is it checker?
They're both here, and I think they would like to speak, but again, that's your call. The issue on from Checker Cab will be the checks.
Because checker's green, right?
They're green with there are some black checks involved, and then yellow cab is yellow cab.
I'd like to hear from them and see if they have pictures of the cat.
That's your call, not mine.
Someone here?
I think we should do that. Do we have, let's take yellow first. No microphone on?
We do not, because we're on an odd meeting day, I was unable to get all the equipment with us.
So we need to speak a little louder, okay.
I'm Doug Trimble with Yellow Cab. Of course, we're going to oppose this. This is an awful lot of yellow. We get calls from numerous people saying, "Hey, I lost my cell phone. medicines, etc. I didn't get a cab number. You know, you try to help these people out, we help the majority of them. You know, the bottom line is they say, well, I know I was in a yellow cab. I know I was in a checker cab.
Do you have a photograph of one of your cabs here, or?
Not mine, no.
You don't have,
Ours
I
are,
do.
ours are 100% yellow.
okay. I just want to compare it, I'm
Right. Understandable. Yeah, our letters are black. Car's 100% yellow with black lettering. Of course, we don't have no problem with the, over in Cancer Cab. This, however, is too much of an infringement on our color scheme. These people that call, you know, that don't get their cab numbers, we are able to help them because, hey, they say I was in a yellow cab, or I was in a green cab, or checker cab. You know, you can track drivers down that way. This is gonna create confusion, and the people that do not get the cab numerals that's on the cabs are not gonna know what they're riding in. On top of that, when a cab company is granted existence, they apply for their color scheme in advance, they get it. They've already changed the color scheme on this particular cab company once. It doesn't need to be changed again. I'm just saying there's way too much yellow on the side of that car to not confuse it with yellow cab. Anybody out there in the general population is going to confuse that with yellow cab. We've had enough confusion with accidents and things happening, you know, with whom they assumed that they rode in. We don't need any more confusion. This cab company's already changed the name of this company once. This is just way too much yellow. If we could come to a compromise with them, I'd be happy to sit down and address it, maybe come to a good conclusion for both. But this right here is a total infringement on our color scheme that we've had approved since the 70s, and we oppose this strongly. I don't know about Checker. I hope to hear from them as well on checks on the cars, but down through history, nobody has infringed on anybody else's color scheme because there's not enough companies in town that we have to. You know, so we oppose this strongly.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Do you know what your PMS color is, your yellow PMS? Because there's probably 50 different shades of yellow.
I understand that. It's sort of canary yellow, but this is so similar that if you were on 5th and Broadway and you jumped in the
So
taxi.
you don't know the PMS color?
No.
Thanks. Do you guys have other questions for Mr. Trimble? No? All right, thanks. And then you said Checker
Checker.
as well? Do we have Checker's rep? Brandy's here.
Hi, I'm Brandy Dismay, the manager of Checker Cab. At Checker Cab, we agree with what Doug from Yellow has just presented. We're just asking that the checkers not be allowed. It's something that has represented Checker Cab since the 1960s. We've always been the only company in town with them. It's an identifying mark for us. We don't approve of this, and the same as Doug is saying, I'm willing to sit down if they want to compromise and something a little different. We would really appreciate it to keep the companies separate with their identifying marks.
Any questions for Checker?
I have one. Has there been any conversation, give and take between you and people wanting to change?
No, sir. We were just made aware of it, well, I was, and I'm sure the other managers last Monday in a manager's meeting. That was our first time I'd heard of it.
Do you have any? Yeah. Do you have any pictures of Checker?
I don't have them with me, no, sir.
So they're
But ours
green
do
and
have, ours
check-
are green with the checkers down the stripes on both
medium
sides.
green. Okay.
One question, where are your checkers located on your car?
Down, straight down the side, right above the door, from the front to the back, from the
All the
front
way
fender
down
all
to-
the way down to the back.
Thank you.
Mr. Solomon, the 1-800 taxi cab, it's orange, correct?
Black with orange stripe.
Black
About,
orange stripe.
9 inches down the side of the cab.
And then I think our test is, in our opinion, whether this is misleading or deceiving or potentially deceiving or defrauding of the public.
Am I allowed to ask another question, Mr. Solomon?
Please do.
Are the cars, are the vehicles gonna be different types of vehicles? I mean, I'm looking at what it looks like.
They're mostly all vans right now. They're all vans, right? All vans.
All right.
Oh, no, we have, most of our van, we have, I think, 3 that are sedans.
So the proposed change to this yellow and black striped combination, or diagonal combination, it's gonna be on vans?
On any vehicle type, whatever vehicle type it would be, yes.
Because I'm looking at Priuses versus vans right here.
I got more.
Okay.
So my question would be, can you tell me the percentage of black versus yellow on that car?
If I had to guess, it's 50-50. You remember the front of the car and the back of the car is black.
Yeah.
And then a foot of the bottom is black, over the wheel wells is black, and above the doors is gray and yellow.
Okay.
It's a diminishing gray. It's not a distinct check.
Yep.
And we purposely did it differently when we designed them originally, because most checker cabs in the country, if we're going into a city that has checker, has that 1 or 2 or 3 inch stripe down the door handle. And we put it in a completely different location and a lot more of it.
So the entire top of that van is black?
Yes, the only thing that's yellow is the sides. Everything else is black. Same on the Prius, or same on the sedan.
I wouldn't confuse this with a checker cab, personally.
Well, I guess that's important because it is the opinion of the commission that dictates the scheme. Any commissioners have other questions of either of the three or of Mr. Fields? Well, I guess our options are to approve or disapprove. So I will entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion without going into great detail. I make a motion that we approve the scheme of the taxis.
I have a motion to approve.
I second.
I have a second. Is there discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right.
Those opposed?
Nay.
Motion carries 3-1.
Excuse me, sir. We need to think about the security of our customers.
Okay.
If anything happens, they say, I enter yellow card.
I appreciate it.
It's green.
The
It
commission
was
has
yellow.
already moved on the item.
Can y'all turn that up where we can hear back here, please?
There's no volume today.
Can you speak up for us, please? Thank you.
You're right, there's no volume today.
There is no volume. There
All right.
again, it's an odd day, so we didn't have the speakers.
Okay. All right, the next item on the agenda is a request by One Stop Auto Repair and Mr. Hassan to operate taxicab meter installation service. Mr. Fields?
Mr. Hassan has requested to have the right to install meters. He wants to install a particular type of taxi meter. His taxi meter, and I think you should have in your pack that delivered to you, is a Centrodyne. There are 2 standard meters used in Nashville, Centrodyne and another. He would only do the Centrodyne. The ordinance requires that he make an application and present his credentials to the commission if they're in order.
Quiet, please. Thank you.
And if he is certified and his letter's in order, then it would be your right to grant it.
Okay. Run that by me again, there was a lot of interference.
Okay. The company is One Stop Auto Repair. They've asked to become the 3rd meter shop that the commission recognizes to install taxi meters. He would only, and there's 2 basic styles of meters we use. One of them is Centrodyne, which is the one that he is certified in. Again, in your package, you'll see his certification. The ordinance is pretty straightforward. If he's certified and the requirement level is meeting the level of certification and making the request. And then at that point, we would give him the permission, and assuming nothing happened, he would be able to until he decided not to.
Okay.
And I'll look over at legal. I don't think I've overstated or misstated.
So he's applied, everything's in order.
Is there a need for additional taximeter locations? We did have an influx of,
It would probably speed up the process for some of the companies, yes.
Okay. Well, I think the
And
application.
he's present if you'd like to hear from him.
Is there a reason to? Okay. Unless the commission is interested in hearing from the applicant, I'll entertain a motion.
I would move for Mr. Hassan to be approved for one-stop auto repair operated by Mr. Hassan to be approved to install taxi cab meters.
I have a motion. Is there a second?
I second.
Have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. We're on to a new driver request by Mr. Hussein.
Mr. Hussein's present. Mr. Hussein, come forward, please.
Mr. Fields, do you have background on this?
Yeah, Mr. Hussein applied to be a taxi cab driver, and in his application, he failed to disclose a drug charge. By your practice and your request of the staff, we are bringing it to you to share that with you.
Okay.
He was charged with possession with intent of a controlled substance. It was also dismissed. And I look over at Mr. McNally, who knows a lot more about these sort of things than me, just in case.
So we've just been handed a document. I'll take a moment to read. Mr. Fields, has Mr. Hussein not have operated without the proper permits as alleged?
He has not been brought on charge in front of the commission
Okay.
for that charge. There have been
Big difference,
allegations that
that's
he
true.
has, yes.
Okay. All right, Mr. Hussein, as the application states that that you're required to fill in the approximate dates of traffic tickets, arrests, charged with, convictions, forfeitures of bond, violation of city ordinance or any state or federal laws. And it doesn't appear that that is the case, that you followed those requirements and failed to disclose the felony drug offense.
Yes, somebody was setting me out, put my car something, call the police. That's why they dismissed. It wasn't mine.
The application requires that those items be disclosed.
What do you mean by
Well, if you've been charged with anything,
that? I already
arrested,
told them I
it's-
never feel up on I never said no.
it wasn't on the application's pretty clear that states that you have to disclose all that information.
Yeah, I did.
I
did.
one time, July 2013.
That's what I did, my application, and I did tell them. That's why I give them my copy.
So, the July 2013 was when this was,
I didn't apply since that
okay, but the date here is September 5th.
time.
On the-
Last year,
Yes.
I didn't apply. I never feel like.
No, I'm not worried about the application. I'm worried about the difference between what you wrote here and what we have here. As far as the charge that was on September 5th, 2012. Am I missing something here?
On your application, you wrote that the offense took place in July of 2013, and on
2012.
The,
Am I
the
reading this
affidavit is September 5th of 2012. So that we're trying to reconcile is the difference between September 5th of 2012 and your disclosure of July 2013.
I told them that the day they arrested me. That's what I put in my application.
The application says July 2013.
Yeah, I just applied 2018, but the day they arrested me is 2012.
There's some possibility, and I'm not going to speak for him because Mr. Singh can speak for himself. It's possible that he misunderstood. The charge was actually in 2012, and he was basically sharing with you when it was dismissed in 2013.
Do we have that?
It was dismissed, May
May
2nd, 2013, right? But you were charged months earlier before that, correct?
No,
No? You weren't charged on September 5th, 2012 with felony possession of drugs?
yeah,
Yeah, you were. Okay. And it was caught, right?
yeah,
Where are you from?
Somalia.
Somalia. And that's a common drug in Somalia, right? Okay. Now, just so we can get this cleared up here. September of 2012, you're charged with possession of cot in a cab, right?
In my car, yeah.
In your car. In the door of the car, right? All right. And in fact, the police officer came to you because a passenger or someone brought it to the officer's attention,
The
right?
person who gave it to me
The person who gave
called.
called the police on you?
Yeah.
Okay. And then the next year, May of 2013, you went to court and the case got dismissed. Okay. And you're saying that what brought the police officer to your car was that the person who gave it to you called the police on you?
Yeah, not this person.
Okay.
He never told me the car was parked.
So the person who called the police officer, they weren't reporting you for driving without a license, without the permit for a cab?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yes what?
Yeah, the report also, I don't have a driver license. I don't have no permit. I don't have nothing. And I also have a permit.
All right. Now, you've been charged, I'm sorry.
That time I have a permit.
Now, did you disclose in your application the other two arrests you had? Or other two tickets you received? Back in 1997? Do you remember pleading guilty to interference of a traffic control device on a railroad sign in 1997?
I never arrested that.
Okay. What about the no driver's license charge that was dismissed in September 1997? Did you report that? Did you report that on your application?
No, and they never arrested me.
Okay.
That time nobody asked me at that time, 1997.
Was the person who called the police officer on you, were they from Africa?
No, really.
No?
It's in America.
Was it American? Caucasian? White?
White guy.
And he had caught?
So an
He gave
American,
it to me, yeah. He set me up.
Americans are giving you cotton?
He bought it on Somalian place. And he gave it to me. He knows it's a trap. I didn't even realize until the police told me, you have something in your car. The police, when he comes to me, he told me, you have drugs in your car.
Yeah.
How can you know unless somebody told? I said, the person who left to me right now, so call me on the police, tell you I have a drug or something. He said, yes. Also, he told me you don't have no driver license. I give my very much driver license, He said, don't worry about it. Let me search your car. And he found it. He said, okay, sorry.
Well, I have one other question. Why would this person want to set you up?
Because he don't like me. And he was mad about me. I don't know, somehow.
Do you know him?
Yeah, I do love him, you know. Hi, and he never said to me hi. He just left it on call. Automatically, I know after 3 minutes, there's police behind. And the police wasn't working that song. He called personal folks. He knows. That's why they dismiss, because they cannot bring it and prove the person.
Thank you.
Mr. Fields, does COT show up on the standard drug test that we do?
I do not believe so.
Okay.
I can verify that. We probably can arrange for a test that would show it.
I'm just curious. All right, we have an application before us from Mr. Hussein with one item disclosed. I believe there's some confusion about arrest and dismissal of the charges and dates. There are some other items on the background check that were not disclosed. Obviously, up to the commission as to disposition of this application.
I just think if we go by our normal standard procedure of if you don't disclose, you're denied, I would have to say I would make a motion that we would deny a permit at this time.
Is that a motion?
I
Okay.
second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
I find the statements made here today to lack credibility. So, one observation I would make today.
Thank you. Any other discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Application denied. Next item on the agenda, I believe we have record and towing services, new driver applications for 5 individuals.
All of them are in order and meet with your approval and should be able to meet with your approval. They're in order.
They meet with the qualifications.
They meet the qualifications, yes.
Okay. We have 5 applications.
Christopher Jason Cantrell, William David Jackson, Manuel Thomas Johnson, John Edward Trail, and James Turner.
I make a motion that we approve new driver applications for Christopher Jason Cantrell, William David Jackson, Manuel Thomas Johnson, John Edward Trail, and James Turner.
We have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion in 2 seconds. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? 5 applications approved. Next item on the agenda, other vehicles for hire. We have a new company application, which is, I believe, Baba Transportation, along with the owner driver permit request by Mr. Abdul Hadi. Mr. Fields, do you have any background on
Now,
this?
this presents a little bit of an interesting case. Mr. Baba has been operating his transportation company for several weeks in Davidson County. I'm pretty sure he'll admit that because he and I visited a lot at CMA. I would not approve it as the director, although I had that authority based on the way the ordinance works because of the nature that he's also had many allegations of operating, and our inspectors have seen him on the captain stands. So it's a little bit different. And again, he and I have had a couple of conversations, so I leave it with you. He qualifies as a company once he meets some other, there's a couple of insurance issues on his cars, so they will, and I'm confident he'll be able to get those. But I think mostly, I want to make sure he understands that he can't operate as a taxi cab, and he has to follow all the rules of and I'm hoping that y'all can impress that upon him if you approve it.
At this point, there are some issues with insurance.
No, there are no real issues. It was a matter of the issue document that we received was not the one we needed, and they had not sent it back to us. So we would not license the car until those were finalized.
And he knows he was not supposed to be operating.
Excuse me?
Did you know you were not supposed to operate?
No.
Even
Before-
after you spoke to Mr. Fields?
May I ask you a question directly? In early June, did you and I visit down at the LP Field when you came into a cab stand to let out passengers? Did you and I talk that day? Did I tell you that you were in a cab stand?
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah, he told me this because before I don't know about the law. I used to work for limousine for myself before 5 years, but I coming new for to start, and he told me you have to go to the office. Then I have to go to the office. Miss Lisa, I give it to her everything, and she give it to me to fill it up the paper, and I give it to her everything. What they need, I do.
After you gave Miss Lisa all the information, did you continue to operate your vehicle in a for-hire manner?
I don't know about the law before.
Okay.
Or do you understand the law now?
Excuse me?
Do you understand the law now, the rules of this commission?
Yeah,
Have you
I
read them?
understand now. This is why I'm going to this office, and I give it to him everything.
All right. So we have two applications, correct, Mr.
Yeah, you
Peter?
have a company and a driver. I thought we should probably, if you would, hear them at the same time.
Okay. And I guess for the driver application, I hate to do this, but I'm again at the point of looking at how many times you've been given a traffic ticket, arrested or charged with, convicted of, or forfeited a bond, all the above. And it looks like I have 3 items listed on the application, yet I have a full page of violations. Mr. Al-Bahadi, did you understand that you were to disclose every item on, as far as traffic tickets, arrests, everything?
Yeah, I understand now. Before he told me everything, then I do what supposed to be do.
But this is your application,
That's right.
and it has, there was a question about traffic tickets and everything else, and you only listed 3 things on here, and I don't think I can count this high. 25 things or so that weren't listed.
More recent, too.
Yeah, you disclosed 95, 97, 99. I look at 2001, 2,
8.
3, 4, 5, 6, 2007, 2000. There's a lot of stuff on here. Okay. Does anyone with the commission have questions for Mr. Al-Bahadi? Yep. Well,
Can I step you something?
please.
I know that I'm 72 years old, but I'm healthy. I'm perfect health. And I don't have any medical illness. And I work hard, but I cannot live on assistance. That's why I appreciate it to you if you give it to me the permit.
Well, I can't speak for the commission, but I think we want to.
And I want you to understand, we just told the gentleman that he could not have his license because he didn't fill out the form properly and didn't disclose things. Now, if we turn around and do the same thing for you and don't follow the same procedure, then we're not being true to what that procedure is. And you did not disclose the things on the application that are listed in your background, which by rule literally makes it impossible for us to grant you what you're looking for. I want you to understand that. It's not about whether you're healthy, not healthy. You have to follow the procedure in order to make it done. And if we don't follow that for everyone, then we're not doing our jobs up here.
I was in for your help.
Mr. Fields, what would be the process if this were to be denied as far as reapplication?
The driver could not reapply for 90 days. So you could actually hear his application at the, I think the November meeting typically would be on the 27th of November. Because of Thanksgiving, I think it will fall on the 21st of November.
And that would be
a little short of the 90 days, but it would be in that time period.
time frame. Okay. Any further questions for Mr. Abdulhadi? No. Thank you.
Metro Legal has something to say.
Metro Legal has.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that for other passenger vehicles for hire, there is a provision that the disclosures need to be of criminal convictions, except for traffic citations. It's less specified for taxi cabs, but it does say that they must certify that the application is true and complete.
So true and complete would mean full disclosure, I suppose.
My general belief, and of course I was not on the council and can't speak to what their intent was, but I think and Mr. Costonis can correct me, I think typically what we were looking at it says any and all, but we also require an MVR, which discloses everything that they're required to bring in. So I suspect from all the traffic violations, the speeding and so forth, from a knowing what we needing to know between his knowing what he has revealed and then adding the MVR to it should be a true and complete view of what he's done. If, however, he has left something out that would be of criminal nature, then I think that would be what Ms. Costonis was
If it's a criminal conviction, except other than a traffic citation, the omission of it would disqualify him on that.
Do you all have any questions of Ms. Costonis? All right, we have application before us from Baba Transportation and Mr. Abdulhadi for other vehicle for hire owner driver. I'll entertain a motion.
I move to deny the application of both the company and the driver.
We have a motion to deny the application for the owner and driver, Mr. Abdulhadi and Baba Transportation. Is there a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The motion carries. Unfortunately, the application has been denied. We would love to see you back in 90 days, I think would be the consensus of the commissioners.
Yes.
Okay.
I don't think he understood that. Do you understand what he just said?
No.
Okay.
Your application has been denied because your application wasn't complete. If you complete it, properly and do that after 90 days, then this commission would love to consider that application at the time. We just couldn't do it based on our procedure.
Okay. Thank you.
But please come back.
Okay, thank you.
I can say that, can
Yes.
I? All right. good.
I saw in his eyes, he didn't understand what you
Yeah,
were saying.
I think you're right.
I'm dealing with a mother that, and I read that now.
All right, the
We did it.
next item, we have driver permit applications for Mr. Edwin P. Carter. Is Mr. Carter here?
Just make sure of one thing, that he would understand what it is that you just said, that if he operates again between now and then.
Yes.
Would you make sure of that? Because I have caught him, I'm a taxi cab driver in Nashville cab. I've caught him, I don't know how many times, operating like a cab and confronted the customers after he pulled away and he saw me. Did he solicit you from the street right in front of the station inn? They said, yes, he did. He denies it. So I just want to make sure that he understands what you're saying.
Okay. Mr. Abdelhadi, to back up, I think we want to be sure that there's no violation of any more Transportation Licensing Commission rules or procedures. Basically, you can't operate as a cab, you can't operate as another vehicle for hire until you're licensed by the commission.
Okay.
Thank you. We have 3 driver permit applications. Mr. Edwin P. Carter. Mr. Fields, do you have background on Mr. Carter?
On Mr. Carter's original application, he left a couple of things off. The inspectors denied it based on that. He came back in, filled out the application again, and everything is now where it needs to be.
Okay, so he reapplied.
There were some things missing in the normal practices when they fail to get all the information on. We give them an opportunity to refile, go through the full process again, and we treat it as a new application.
Okay.
What were the things that were missing in the first one?
The first one,
Just in general.
there was a issue of, one second, on his background check, there would be a issue of an assault.
Assault and battery, domestic dispute.
I believe the assault is what was missing off the original application. Actually, 2 assault, no, 1 assault.
From 25 years ago?
It's been several years.
89.
Okay. But none of these would preclude us issuing. Do you all have questions for the applicant?
I make a motion to approve this application.
We have a motion to approve the application of Mr. Edwin P. Carter.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Application approved. Thank you. We have driver permit application for Christopher L. Medley. Is Mr. Medley here? Mr. Field, what's the background on this application?
In Mr. Medley's original application, he failed to disclose a BUI, voting under the influence charge, and an implied consent. And when he came, that was in 2008, he came back and completed the application. And a representative of his company is here.
I hate when that happens.
Ma'am, what company are you with?
Him, company representative, Metro Livery.
Okay, great, thank you.
What was the 2008 accident property damage?
That was my personal car. I ran off the road, damaged my car. Unless
violation.
And what was the date of the 2008 BUI arrest?
I believe July.
So,
Is when I actually got arrested, was July. But it's definitely summertime.
looks like July 26th.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Fields, would a voting under the influence more than 5 years ago?
That would not preclude him from being issued a permit.
Okay. Do y'all have questions for Mr. Medley? Questions for Mr. Medley?
I'll make a motion.
I'll entertain a motion on the application of Christopher Medley.
Move for approval.
Have a motion for approval.
Second.
Have a second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Application approved. Oh, any nays? Thank you. Application approved. Thank you, Mr. Medley.
Thank you.
We have a driver permit application for Lisa Murray. Is Miss Murray here? Miss Murray is not here.
Did we hear from Ms. Murray about that anything?
What's the best thing to do here, Mr. Fields?
Staff would object if you wanted to defer, because the meeting date was moved, there's some possibility of confusion.
All right.
It might be worthwhile giving her the benefit of the doubt for the September meeting.
Entertain a motion?
Move to defer to the September meeting.
We have a motion to defer the application of Lisa Murray until the September meeting. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Application deferred. Next, we have a public hearing, two public hearings. Consideration of a rule modification request by taxi cab companies to extend the September 1st, 2013 deadline for compliance with TLC Rule 7B regarding minimum limits of liability insurance. Thank you. Mr. Fields again.
Earlier this year, you established a new threshold for liability insurance coverage for taxi cabs, going into effect on September 1st, 2014, going from what it was to 50, 150. At the time during the hearing, when you made your new rule, there was a general belief that it was accomplishable in a relatively easy manner. Over the last several weeks, I've had numerous calls and numerous conversations regarding some companies, some individuals, and even some insurance representatives that they're going to be challenged to get everybody in line. My biggest concern is without the consideration of an extension of some kind, I would have many taxi cabs in violation on September the 1st, and which would, in that case, require them to come off the street because they'd be in violation of the insurance requirements. And that's a public safety issue that we would be watching very closely. So we felt that we wanted to offer a public hearing so you could hear from some of the same people. You're also going to hear from people who were able to go out and get their insurance, and they're in order right now.
And then what was the date that was changed?
It was changed in
the May meeting?
The May meeting. It just talked about in April and decided in May.
Mr. Fields, I'm sure you spoke to both drivers companies and maybe even insurance companies. Did they say when they could get it done? I mean, we could.
There a couple of, I've had a couple of that have said we can do it by November 30th or December 1st. Others have said we can do it by December 31st. So I've had a couple of different comments. Again, some have already completed the process.
And we're talking about a quarter, just 3 more months of an extension and pushing out, I guess, the increases by a quarter also.
But it can only be done in a public hearing for you to, in order to make a rule. What we do is basically change a date in the rule is what we would consider.
Does anyone have a problem with it?
It's a public hearing.
Yeah.
Do we have to hear from people?
We still need to hear.
Yeah, we still need to hear.
All right, I have Ms. Costonas, any,
No, there's no problem with that.
any order?
There's no
All right.
particular order.
Excuse me. We'll open the public hearing. We have 9 requests to speak. I'm going to start with those that are against the proposal. And I would urge you, in the case of brevity, if you're following the first gentleman, to not repeat what the ones that came before you said. If you have additional points, please make them. And the first person is David Watts.
Hi, I'm David Watts. I drive from Houston City. I would like to know why the insurance is being raised in the first place. Where does the government or whoever it is made that decision for us? We didn't have the opportunity to discuss it, vote on it, or anything. All these drivers out here we got in this office right now, this is what we make our living. If they're going to up this insurance, make us get whatever their minimum and maximum is, that's taking money out of our pocket. It's already taken out of our pocket now with a lot of stuff that's being done outside. This insurance issue is absolutely ridiculous. It's just going to start, drivers are not going to be able to afford to pay their lick, everything they got to do to take care of their family and all that. I mean, I just think that's ridiculous for somebody to come in and say, hey, you're going to put insurance on your car. It's just like coming in and me telling you, hey, you're going to give me your wallet. No, you can't. This is America, guys. We don't need people to tell us how to do our job, raise our families, and money coming out of our pocket. I mean, it's bad enough we're working 18, 20 hours a day out there trying to make the money to pay for everything. And then we got all this other stuff going on. And these people coming in to try to take our money because they want, what was the reasons why they want to raise the insurance in the first place?
We're considering a rule modification to extend the deadline.
Well, that's still not answering my question. What was the
Right,
reason?
but that's what we're considering today. So the insurance standards have been set by the commission previously, and we're considering pushing that back at the request of...
But the amount has already been set, right?
That's correct.
So why was that set without us knowing anything about it?
Well, we're not considering that right now, but it was set, and there was public notice and public hearing that happened when all that took place. So that is not under consideration today.
Where was the public notice?
Pardon?
The public notice, you said?
Well, again, we shouldn't be talking to people that aren't here, but the public notice went out with both the April and the May meetings of the commission.
Yes, we followed the exact procedure. The ordinance is required of public notice and advised all of the companies. It's very, as the drivers in the room know, I'm happy to talk with all of you. It's very difficult to share information because I don't get to see 1,075 drivers. But there was public notice. Now, again, for point of clarification, today we're just talking about moving the issue back. One of the issues that came up on a different subject that we may need to have a public hearing on, there are some questions about the information that we provided during the hearing. There were some other questions we may want to consider later. Today, it's just about moving the deadline back, but there was notice given. And
well, you know, we need y'all's help. I mean, we're out here busting it, trying to take care of the city. And if we're going to be told what we're going to have to do, then you're going to eliminate, if this happens, you're going to eliminate probably 30% of your taxi services. Then these big wheels out here are going to get what they want. Move us out of the way.
Mr. Watts, you marked on your...
I'm against it.
Here that you're against the proposal. I believe you're actually in favor of the proposal to defer it.
No.
At a minimum.
No, I don't agree with it being raised at all.
Well, okay, it's kind of hard to...
Well, it's hard, but that's my decision.
All right. I have Mr. Doima. Godwin Doima.
Hi. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I personally have an objection to this very particular insurance issue because we don't have any money coming in. Everything people will tell you is a question of hearsay. And when you hear it, oh, taxi drivers are making money, that is not true. And all of you can go ask them individually. Some days they don't go home with $90 in their pocket after all expenses. They don't. Some of these drivers don't. And it's like monkey is walking, baboon is eating. That's not fair. You know, how can we be walking round the clock? Some people walk 24 hours non-stop. It's very, very precarious situation to the drivers and their family, because if anything happens to them, their family is in a very serious problem. Some of the people here, they are the major breadwinners to their family. And when they go out, they have bills to pay, they have other things to do, insurance, health insurance, everything about their family and the children. And instead of the commission or the commissioners trying to have our own view, we are treated like soldiers on the front line. Soldiers are told, you don't think. You have people thinking for you. For goodness sake, we are not in the military. We are all civilians. So for you guys to sit down to say, we've done this, we've approved this has gone, that is really a slap on the faces of people here. Some of us here are college graduates. Some of us here probably attended the same universities that some of you did attend and get your degrees. So don't you never ever think and belittle all these ladies and gentlemen here. They are human beings just like you. You need to inform them as to what is happening. And we need a representation here on this board. A driver needs to be there to know what is happening.
All right. Thank you.
Yes.
Yes.
Again, the item that we're considering is a modification of a existing rule to extend the deadline for minimum limits of liability insurance. That's what we're considering today, and that's what the public hearing's about. Mr. Abdullah? Mr. William Newman Sr. All right. Mr. Habib Al-Shawi.
My name is Habib Al-Shawi. I'm checker driver and I'm the owner of Checker Drivers. First of all, I was put my name to talk about the car, but it's too late because you guys approved it. So we're gonna talk about the insurance. Yeah, I own like almost 20 cars and Checker car. And you guys pushed me to get the insurance and borrow the money to borrow the insurance. So when the rule is gonna be go for deadline by September, should be fair for everybody go, because Mr. Field and Brandy, they push everybody to get in that day. Which is if you're gonna move it now, I will feel really bad because I lost all the money and I have to push on my driver to pay more money to get the insurance, that's all.
Because you already have the insurance.
No, I used to have an American Surface, which is B-. Now I went to I rated because you guys don't want B-, which is that's what we've been coming here in May, and we say it's not really a big difference because it's B- and B+. But you guys want B+, which is everybody, especially Checker, they want to follow the rules and to be like the first we did. And Mr. Field, he keeping mail Brandy every day, get it, get it, get it. And I have 3 companies, they decline me because I have 3 claims in insured motors. And the insurance, they don't want it, even in insured motor. I have to pay more money, over like $20,000, just because B- and B+. And of course, this money is gonna be again to my driver and there's income. So if you guys make the rules, it should be for everybody rules.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, can I ask you a question? When did you make the changes?
Friday.
Friday? How long did it really take?
How long did it take?
Yeah.
Take me 2 months to find an insurance company, which is because the problem is, because I have a driver, they have accident.
I understand. You had
In
some
insured motor,
yeah.
you need to keep that. In insured motor, and the insurance they call it is a claim. And maybe Nathan, he's here. consumer, they decline me because uninsured motor, what I'm gonna do for uninsured motor?
And if you didn't have any issues, how long would it have taken?
How long take it, like 1 day?
1 day?
Yes.
Thank
Because
you.
3 company take it.
Thanks.
Thank you. I have Ms. Sharon Dill. Mr. Abraham Azrak.
Hello, my name is Ibrahim Azrak. I was trying to talk about the taxi
Pardon?
logo. I was trying to talk about the taxi logo, and you already approved it.
Yes, we have.
I still got some issues about the insurance companies and the new requirement. I'm already in the right requirement in the insurance company 3 years ago, I think. But this issue is very, very hard for the cab driver to afford it. And you already approved it. So my vision was everybody waiting for the convention center to open, business coming up to Nashville, Tennessee. And you guys approved like 3, 4, 5 companies in Nashville. Too many drivers competing in little bit space in downtown area, the Memorial area. They couldn't afford it to make money to pay new insurance. So guys, if you are already approved it, give us a little bit time till the convention center start. We got the Titan season start, everything set up. We got to make money, and then at least move it like 1 year more. This one.
Thank you, Mr.
We don't need it. No, we don't need it. We don't need it. They already approved it. No. They cannot be giving us cooked food.
Thank you. Mr. Shimelis Tafis.
Can I pause for a second? Mr. Fields?
Yes.
We usually have at least some drivers at each meeting. And of course, public notice was given. These cab drivers were at the meetings when we were discussing the insurance
There were some here,
increases.
yes.
And I'm sure they're all friends with each other and they talk. Why is everybody so against it now? Where were they at that point? It's tearing me up right now that.
I'm not sure. Again, I think the only thing that you can actually deal with at this particular moment is the schedule. If the commission has determined, based on conversation today, that you want to revisit the rule, obviously we can establish another public hearing and revisit the rule. I will remind you that we raised it based on a study that was commissioned by the city as a way of ensuring public safety. Again, I have had many conversations with the drivers because they do talk among themselves and they're not bashful to come and see me. And that may be inappropriate just because the one thing we do have now that is different, we have real world numbers in terms of what the insurance rates are going to be. But I also know there's some of the insurance company reps are here as well who can speak to where we are in the process and some of the difficulties that have come up, at least for some.
Any questions for Mr. Fields? Mr. Tafis?
Yeah, my name is Shimelis Tafis. I drive in Nashville City for 12 years. I pay for insurance company for 12 years. I didn't collect 1 cent from insurance company. But the problem is really Nashville is a very small city. If you go to like New York, Washington, these big cities, like really we have to cover it, our liabilities must be high. But in Nashville, all the drivers, we know each other, we know how to drive, so I don't think so. Why the insurance to increase our liability? Really, we cannot survive. We cannot survive because we pay for the companies, we pay at the end for insurance. You guys, I think the economy is very bad in Nashville. I know Nashville very well. So according to that, really, we cannot survive. If the insurance is going up, we cannot survive our family. So please, guys, we have to think about this. As the insurance company, if it goes up, we cannot survive in Nashville City. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And I have Mr. Nathan Spears.
If I may ask Mr. Spears a question to start off with. Mr.
I don't
Spears.
think there's a problem with that, is it? Nope.
You were at all the public hearings. You handle the insurance for these guys. Did you not mention to them, or did they ask you, hey, the TLC is speaking about increasing insurance limits? Did that conversation ever come up, even with the drivers that were present at the meetings? It seems like today there's a big backlash against the change, but it's been going on for how many months?
Years, really. It's frustrating. Did we send a bulletin out? Did we send a mailer out to each individual insured? No, we did not.
Well, you spoke to some, I'm sure. You spoke to some
I
drivers.
spoke to many. We've been talking about it for years. In 2008, the commission tried to do the same thing, increase the liability limits. I spoke out against it. Quite frankly, at the time, I was fairly new to the business and basically listening to my constituents, my customers. You guys know me. Okay. Nashville is a good-sized city. I mean, I've had this conversation with all you guys, for the most part, okay? Nashville's a good-sized city. I can't stand here in good conscience and argue that the limits that we have now are absolutely adequate. No limits would necessarily be adequate. They're asking us to take the next step, not a gigantic leap. And yes, it's difficult to endure it. Nobody wants to pay more money for anything, but when you double the coverage, the premium is going to go up. And by the way, gentlemen, the premium is not set exclusively by the insurance companies. You have a big hand in that. I know most of you understand this. So as far as my supporting it or being against it, I'm here to accommodate it. I've been doing it for quite a while, and I like my job. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not here to keep my job. I like what I do. I care about you guys. So, I mean, I would really prefer to answer questions more than, grandstand about my personal feelings.
No, I appreciate it. Thank you.
And I'm here every month for a reason. It's because I have business here.
Right.
So that's why some of these drivers should be here, perhaps.
What issues are you seeing regarding getting compliance by September 1st?
More than anything, it's really just very overwhelming. For myself, I can't speak for everyone, but for myself, I've got a lot of customers. And instead of going out and announcing to the world what's going on, I started to maneuver. I started to market your accounts to other companies. Many of you know this. We've had the conversation. As of today, I've marketed about 70% of them. I have the quotes or declinations. They're ready to go. And in fact, it's been very, very stressful. But it's actually turned out better than I thought it would as far as premium and so forth is concerned. Because you also have asked the entire insurance industry to take a second look at the situation. So.
Is there a timing that you would see that you, right now apparently we can't get it done, and the rule's there, is there a time where you think that would be safe, where everybody would have adequate insurance limits?
Well, I'm going to empathize with my customers on this one. I mean, the more time the better. It is a substantial change for them. Money is a relative thing, but we have a general idea of what many of these gentlemen make. Again, it's relative, but they're going to see about a 25% or more increase in premiums on average.
And what does that equate to in dollars?
Well, you can ask them. I mean, it's really.
Well, I mean, you've been the one looking at all of it. So
I have. I mean, it's proprietary, but you're looking at around $272 a month or so for full coverage, what we call full coverage.
Additional 272?
No, total.
What was it?
No. Not less than $325 at all. Quote it for me, right?
What are you responding to exactly? What are you responding to exactly?
I guess
the price.
Let's keep with
The price we're talking about.
The price. Okay.
Yeah,
let's
price.
keep with Mr. Spears here.
Okay, sure. There is a price range for full coverage, what we call full coverage. That varies between roughly $272, less for some of you, by the way, gentlemen, less.
No.
I said for some.
So we're not gonna be able to find out the increase,
I'm sorry?
the increase, the change.
What would be
in-
the max of the increase?
I mean, sky's the limit. You know, it depends on the risk.
272, 350?
272 is on the preferred end. I would say there's a spectrum of 272 to 325 a month.
And what was it before?
I'm sorry.
What was it before?
On average, somewhere between 250 to 280.
So about $20 a month
Anywhere from $20 to $50 a month.
extra for the increase.
Well, no, I'm sorry, we're saying 372. So we're going from, most who are paying somewhere between about 250 to 280 up to about 372. So it's almost $100 a month. Now, as far as the money is concerned, I empathize. I empathize with you guys. I'm not the one making the rules, gentlemen. I'm accommodating it.
Do we have any more questions for Mr. Spears?
No, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Stand up.
Excuse me.
I carry the maximum that's allowed by MTA for Nashville Cab, and mine comes to $43.24 a year. That's $83.17 every week. And if I just did the math on 372, if you're gonna have them do 50/150, that's gonna come to $44.64, and they don't have $1 million medical coverage.
Now, what's that again?
MTA requires, because we carry the handicap.
Right.
So I'm one of the drivers. Not every driver with Taxi USA has to carry this limit,
Right, because you're under the.
because we're
Yep.
under their access right. So mine is $83.17 every Monday, and times 52, that's $43.24.84 a year. If you were to say that what that level is 50/150, I've got full coverage. I've got more medical. Theirs comes to $44.64.
So you're paying about $350 a month.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
83
All
times
right,
four.
But
appreciate it.
he's having the money, he's having the
Hang
job.
on, hang on. This is a public hearing.
You're not supposed
We have two more. Jenny Williams.
I represent Metro Livery. We're in the same business of taking people from point A to point B. We have $2.5 million in coverage. And the first thing that I want to talk about is to remind you of the safety of Nashville. When we're talking about what the limits have been in the past, it's 50,000 single occurrence, if I'm correct. So imagine if all of your family members were in a taxi, that 50,000 would be divided over all of those individuals in your family. So that's very important when it comes to safety. In terms of how much money do they have at the end of the month, they're not paying workman's comp. That's one of the things that New York City TLC requires of their taxi drivers. They're not paying federal withheld. They're not paying personality tax on their vehicles, FICA, or unemployment. If they are paying these things, it's because I'm not aware of it, but from what I understand, they are not required on those things as independent contractors. So they do have a lot of money at the end of the month for their independent business that they have. Thank you.
Thank you.
You don't know that.
No, she ain't got a clue.
And I have the final speaker is Yashaw Getahoon.
Hi everyone, my name is Yishab, and this is my first time I'm speaking in front of the microphone in front of you guys. So something I have to say is about, since I was driving the cab before Nashville, and I moved to Nashville, I see two things that in my mind. To make all this money, driver, what do they do? Drivers, they have to drive more hours, take away time from their family, and then they have to pay to whom, like insurance or companies or other things. And you guys have not considered that how's the safety. The more we drive longer hours, we are risking our life into ourselves and into the society here in Nashville. If we can afford to live, if we can afford to make money, whatever we make in short time, we don't have to go out and put ourselves long hours to drive, and then we are safe and the people are safe. What's the consider most of the time accidents happening, from my experience that I see, is driver, maybe they get slipped because they have to make more money. And they are long hour driving, they are tired, maybe they are out of control. So I want you guys to consider not only increasing the insurances in the meantime by doing this, driver, what do they make, how do they make it, how do they afford it? Not only on our driver side, but in the public side, you need to consider that. And the second point that as a cab driver, I have never had accident. I think my insurance is consumer, he knows me, I don't have any tickets. I consider myself, I'm a safety driver. Why am I a victim by increasing insurance and pay more money when I'm a safe driver? Either you have to identify who's reckless driver or risk drivers and good drivers. And then you go after that. That's what I want to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Is it time to close the public hearing then?
I have a question. I didn't get a sheet in, but I'd like to speak.
You can limit the time, you may want to hear from a couple more that may, for instance, may not, and limit the.
You may, I mean.
We didn't have to.
The issue before the
Is the
commission,
extension.
before the public hearing, is the extension of time.
Yeah.
And so if anyone wants to speak to that, you might want to hear them. If they
Okay.
have another issue, I think Mr.
That's it.
Field's suggestion that we would have to hold another public hearing on another day to
Okay.
reconsider that issue, that would be the time for that.
All right, great, thank you.
What?
What, why not, wait. 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 Thank you. Everybody, wait. If you are speaking about the rule modification, which would extend the September 1st, 2013 deadline regarding the minimum limits of liability insurance, that is what the public hearing is. If anybody wants to speak about the extension of that deadline, please feel free to do so. We are probably going to consider other topics at a later point, but this is about the extension of the deadline of the existing rule. Anyone wish to speak about the deadline?
It's my understanding, well, I know for a fact that this has already been decided. Your statement, sir, was inaccurate when you said you see cab drivers up here. I beg to differ. These people govern your business. They make the laws of the land. I have been begging drivers, all you drivers, for years to come up here with me once a month and take an hour and a half out of your day to see what's going on with the small decisions in these meetings. But the only time you guys are here is when a major decision comes along. Had you guys been up here in numbers, 100 numerous at a time, every month, you guys had insight to this because the agenda lays on my desk and I announce what's on the agenda on a weekly basis. And you guys know that these people that make these decisions meet once a month. The only time I see record drivers, I see other people, I see cab company management. I don't see no drivers up here but 3 times a year. Had you guys been up here all along, checking out what's the little decisions are being made, you wouldn't have just let this board go against the cab ordinance and let this other company infringe on my color scheme. They went against the cab ordinance. And that happened.
Thank you.
Once a month, this board meets.
I just have one question, and that's,
Please approach.
Is there an appeal process?
Please approach.
Oh, certainly.
And you said.
Yeah, my name's Mike Comp, and I'm with Music City Taxi. I've been driving a taxi here for 12 years. It's my fault, I guess, because I haven't felt a need to attend these, and obviously I've made some obvious mistakes here. But the question I have is, this has already been done, but is there an appeals process that we as a group can, I mean, what is the appeal process? If there's a rule in place, there must be a process to reverse a rule. And I'm wondering what that appeals process may be. Does it require legal assistance in that respect, or?
Do you want my copy?
Yeah, look.
It's read before every meeting.
Okay, I
And
wasn't.
so it's been read probably
I've never came
60
here, so
times
that's
to
my
me.
mistake.
I'm not going to read it now, but I'll give you
Okay.
my copy.
I appreciate that.
All right.
Thank you.
Others wishing to speak regarding the rule? Yes, sir.
I apologize, I'm late. Had a doctor's appointment. We all know how those go.
Okay, you're not on your own schedule.
I'm Roger Baker with Checker Cab. Been a driver for 34 years. As far as the rule goes on the insurance, I think any latitude that the commission could give us on getting our new insurance in place would be helpful. I renewed my insurance yesterday because of the September 1st deadline. My insurance went from $3,050 a year to $4,400 a year. I have no tickets, no claims. I do carry collision. That adds to the cost, but we all know accidents do happen. If I should have one, it was my fault. I feel the need to have the collision insurance to protect myself. So my insurance went up about 33%. One more thing I might add, it's a little bit out of text here. We do pay personalty tax. We do buy a business license every year. Every cab owner has to buy a business license. And you're required by Davidson County to pay a personalty tax on your equipment every year. I've been doing it for the last 30+ years. Thank you for your time. We all appreciate your service.
And that was $3,050 to $4,400.
Yes, sir.
So about $112 a month.
Yes, sir. Well, 122 exactly.
122.
It went from $250.91 to $372.92.
Okay. Got it. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Others wishing to speak specifically about the rule modification? Seeing no others, we'll close the public hearing. Seems like we've had a lot of people speak, most about the insurance and the cost, and some about the extension. Do y'all have any questions for Mr. Fields or anything at this point? We can extend the deadline, just as we said it. During that time, what would you suggest?
Well, again, the least I've heard in talking to people is November the 30th. The longest I've heard is December 31st.
Does any of those conflict with any other issues you have with taxi drivers? All the renewals are going to take place now.
The driver renewals will end on September 30th, but there'll be a different issue altogether.
Okay.
The car insurance is an ongoing, it's
Cycle.
monthly.
Okay.
Yes.
So that won't interfere with renewals or anything?
It's just a matter of, they'll keep pushing that direction.
Commissioners?
Mr. Spears stated he had been through about 70% of his clients. So, and the other gentleman, I remember there being another gentleman from another company. I'm not sure how long that 30% takes to get through, and then there's other guys with other insurance carriers also. So I'd like to hear what the commission thinks.
Well, I can't vote or do anything today, but it seems it does not seem entirely unreasonable to look at something that appears 70% complete. And Mr. Spears is a regular here, 70% complete, and we're looking at the deadline is 5 days away. I think it'd be hard to accomplish the other 30% in 5 days. But that's, and I know that there's been notice in time that's already passed, but
Is there
I
a
think that's what
reason
we
why
have.
we wouldn't want to extend it until December 31st?
I can't think of one.
Mr. Fields, let me ask you a question. If we were to extend it, say, 60 days, could we come back and there were some difficulties with people complying by then, could we come back again, say in the October meeting, and extend it to December 31st?
You could.
It would have to be publicly
With a
noticed.
public hearing.
As a public hearing, because it would be yet another rule amendment. Or you could maybe adopt a, well, it wasn't noticed this way. I was wondering if you could adopt a rule stating, no, I think you'd have to come back.
My-
Why wouldn't, why wouldn't?
My concern is that, being someone who has a tendency to procrastinate until the deadline comes up, and so far I haven't heard anyone address that the rule needs to be extended to November 30th or December 31st, because here's why it's impossible for me to get the insurance today. I don't have, I haven't heard anything like that. What I've heard is contention with the amount, or with the insurance being increased. I haven't heard anyone say procedurally why it's been impossible to get it done by September 1st. And I hate to put it off too long and have people come back November 30th or December 31st with the same complaint of not wanting to have to get it.
Had the volume not been as large as it was being described to me, I probably would have not asked you to reconsider. The fact that there was such a large number was the reason for the reconsideration in terms of just people who could not get insured by September the 1st.
Right, Mr. Spears himself said that he's having a hard time shopping it,
Yeah.
so I think that we just need to give him the latitude to be able to shop it for his customers, for his clients.
Okay.
All right, commissioners, anyone care to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to extend it to December 31st.
I second.
I have a motion to extend the deadline for compliance with TLC Rule 7B regarding the minimum limits of liability insurance to December 31st, and I have a second. Is there any further discussion?
The only comment I would make is sort of like, once you're in, in for a dime, in for a dollar. I know I was thinking 60 days, but I'll go with, I heard the suggestion of either November 30th or December 31st. What we want to do is get compliance with the increase in the insurance. So that's why I made the date of December 31st.
Thank you. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The deadline has been extended to December 31st for the minimum limits of liability insurance. Thank you all.
Then we'll take 3 minutes.
Okay. The next item on the agenda is the discussion of existing or needed rules and ordinances regarding horse-drawn carriage operations and adoption of rules determined needed. Mr. Fields, do we need any background on this prior to the opening of the?
I'd probably give you just a little bit. We have, and I'll say this for the benefit of the companies, we've had a relatively quiet summer as opposed to the loud spring.
Thank you.
There are a couple of specific issues that I wanted to share with you, and I felt as though you needed to hear them. There's an ongoing issue of a moratorium that dates back to 2004. There's issues of who is allowed to operate downtown, who's not allowed to operate downtown, as well as at least one company that would like to have an additional carriage. Now, what I've also learned is if everybody will take additional carriages, we would give them. But it was at a situation where we're at an interesting place because we do have a traffic study that's going on right now that's being conducted by the Traffic and Parking Commission in Public Works. So we're going to have better information later. But again, the issue was continuing as the owners and the drivers of the companies have spoken to me. I felt a need for them to have an opportunity to be in front of you. And the only way I can get them in front of you to talk about a wide range, again, within reason, because some of the issues I'm hoping are, again, we know there's personal issues, and those are going to continue just because that's the nature of the beast of just human interaction. But I think there's some specific issues, again, from at least 2 of the companies that would like to talk about One company in particular coming from Centennial Park, another one adding a second carriage. So I wanted them to have an opportunity to visit with you.
Okay. I suppose that's good. I believe I have 4 people looking to speak at the public hearing. Again, that's a discussion of existing rules or needed rules or ordinances. We don't do the ordinances, we do the rules regarding the horse drawn carriage operations and adoption of the rules. I will start. I guess we'll open the public hearing. And we have, the first person is Quentin Lemoyne.
Oh boy, I get to go first.
You're first.
My name is Clinton Lemoyne, Southern Elegance Carriage Service. I've been operating the carriage downtown since 1989, by far the oldest company in existence. Right now I'm operating 1 carriage. I would like to operate another one. However, I haven't been allowed to because of the moratorium on the carriages. I had a second permit that was taken away from me, and then after my father passed away, I wasn't allowed to inherit his permit, so I'm still down to 1. The point of the other company wanting to come downtown is I'm vehemently opposed to this because we need to deal with issues that we have already. And one of the biggest issues that we have right now, in my opinion, is parking. We have 7 spaces for how many permits?
14.
14 permits, 7 spaces. It don't add up. To put another carriage down there would just be idiotic, in my opinion. It seems like
Unless it was yours.
Well, no, not necessarily.
No. Sorry, I totally.
The hours that I work are a lot of times completely different than other people's hours. I come in late and work late. A lot of times I'll be out until 3 o'clock in the morning during the summer on Friday and Saturdays. So me having another carriage really wouldn't get that much way of other people's operations. But considering the amount of spaces and the amount of carriages, we need to address this issue first and establish parking for at least a few more spaces. We have carriages blocking traffic on Broadway, 2nd Avenue. I've seen carriages sit through 3 phases of red lights, completely blocking 2nd Avenue, completely blocking Broadway, and it's ridiculous. We have enough problems down there with traffic as it is. And I'm sure any of the police officers in the area would attest to what I've said about that, that they are blocking traffic. It shouldn't be but there's a lot of other issues. But that, I believe, is enough to make y'all think twice about putting any more permits down there. If every company down there was only allowed 2 carriages in downtown, anywhere else in Davidson County is not a problem. But downtown, it's a tight little area. We only have so much room to roam. But being in the downtown loop, of course, there's more stuff coming in down there. We got the Omni coming in. I'm sure there'll be more construction in that area. But for now, there's not room for any more carriages. If anything, there should be a reduction of carriages. If every company was allowed 2 permits downtown, and then whatever else they want to do in the rest of the county is up to them. But that would solve a lot of our problems, I believe, with traffic, parking, and competition in general.
Great, thank you. Again, I would urge you during this public hearing to not echo what has been said previously and to be as brief as possible. We don't want to put a time limit on the proceedings. Mr. Smith, Johnny Smith.
My name is Johnny Smith. I own Sugar Creek Carriages, and I'm going to give you a short history and be as brief as quick as I possibly can.
You got. We'll go ahead and set a limit if you're gonna get in the history of it. You guys, what time limit do you guys want to set?
3 minutes.
3?
I might be done quicker than 3 minutes.
3 minutes. Go ahead, Johnny.
Anyway,
You're on right now.
I've been in business since 2000. I helped the city council form, along with Mr. Lemoyne, form the ordinances that you guys are working on now. Me and Mr. Lemoyne helped the city council do this. In 2003, we got regulated, and at that time, we was told there was a moratorium on new businesses or any other carriage companies bringing in more permits than what was already put in place. So I asked for 8 years for another additional permit, and I was refused because there was a moratorium and a freeze on extra permits. In 2010, Ms. Keith got issued a business license, and so that went against what I had been told. And then in the spring of this past year, Hat Creek Carriages was illegally issued a third permit, which I've been asking for one for 8 years. But since this has taken place, and she's got her business license, so I support her being able to come down and make a living just like the rest of us. And but I also believe that if you're going to give one carriage company an additional permit, you're going to need to open it up for everyone else. I mean, I've been asking for one for 8 years, and you know, I'm the only company that's got a letter from the Tennessee State Governor, Bill Haslam. I've got an excellent record, and we've got an A+ business rating. I've been in business, and like I said, I helped you guys form these ordinances, and I've been turned down for 8 years for an additional permit. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Next is Stacy Romines.
Hello, my name's Stacy Romines. I work for Sugar Creek Carriages, Johnny Smith. And the biggest thing I'd like to bring to attention would it concern the route rules. As they were changed, I worked for the company back in 2010 and had an absence, then came back this year for the company. And during that transition, I guess some of the rules definitely changed. Our company, personally, we abide by those rules. We do not go off of the set route that we're on now. Some of the other companies, however, they do, and they go and do pickup and drop-offs. I think we, a couple meetings ago or whatever, we actually had discussions about that. I would ask that for definitely more parking spaces, but for the route to be opened up like it used to be, where we were in a set area, not a set route, which would also, I think, lessen a lot of the stuff that goes on between the companies. And it would, if you put parking spaces in different areas with the new Music City Center, like, the other, what he was talking about, the new Omni Hotel, we have Riverfront, we have Broadway, we have 2nd Avenue, several different places I think would be beneficial instead of, even people having to just go to one area to get a ride. And I mean, I'm in agreement with other people too as far as the moratorium, if it's open for one to get additional permits, I think it should be open for all. And, if one company can run 8 carriages in Davidson County, which would be Southern Comfort, I don't understand why, another company can't get an additional 1 permit, or why another company is being, kept at Centennial Park instead of downtown, where the real income is generated. So, that's all that I have to say.
Thank you. And next is Sarah Beth Williams.
This
My name is Sarah Beth Williams with Cumberland Carriage Tours, and I've been operating in downtown Nashville since March of 2004. I came in business the same time as Hat Creek, which is Sam Roberts. We purchased our permits within a week apart of each other. I am one of the companies that Mr. Fields had mentioned, wanting to get a second carriage permit to be able to operate equally. I have been before the Minority Caucus twice, and Mr. Fields was also invited to that meeting. They are concerned that the Hat Creek received a third carriage permit under Brian McQuistion with the moratorium. He did not use that carriage permit until Labor Day of 2012. He had 3 carriages at that time, did not use that carriage until Brian McQuistion left office. And when we, several companies had seen him use that carriage permit, I called Mr. Fields about the permit. He said that Brian McQuistion had given him that permit in March of 2012. So if he gave the permit in March of 2012, why would Hat Creek hold that permit and not use that permit all summer when he had the carriage to use, and not use it till Labor Day after Brian McQuistion left? Now that is why we're all raising questions of why Hat Creek was individually singled out to operate a third carriage permit, when I myself have been asking and requesting a permit every year since 2004. I have not been able to equal the amount of money that Hat Creek or Southern Comfort has made. So in addition, if we're going to keep these routes set, you're going to also limit my money, which is going to be 20 to 25 minute ride. Now that is going to affect my business because I'm being sandwiched in with companies that all of a sudden pop up with permits. Now how are we going to stop that? You know, I also, Hat Creek operated a 4th carriage illegally down on Broadway, and they thought that since their carriage was inspected, that they had a 4th carriage permit issued. They operated that 4th carriage permit and made money off of that carriage. When I called Mr. Fields about that, I'm not saying that they are throwing it under the rug, but I'm saying that that is an insult to all these carriage companies over here, like Elizabeth Keith and Earl Lemoyne, who was not able to use his permit because his father left him his company. Now that is an insult to us as individuals trying to do hospitality. We do not get up here and fight like cats and dogs. You hardly ever see us in here because we're out here trying to make money and make a living. You know, I still have my carriages downtown. I started out with 2 carriages. And for me to be insulted by being a Davidson County taxpayer and a permit being issued outside of Davidson County, you know, I was not here in 2013 in the February meeting. And I watched that meeting, and I believe that you said that you were embarrassed by the actions that were going on in February of 2013 meeting.
I said I was humiliated.
Yes, same thing. You know, our company was not here. And we didn't want to have, you know, I don't get involved in all this stuff. But I'm a single female. And I do go, and I have been followed. I have had stuff on videotape with Hat Creek's company harassing me by myself. You know, and nothing was done. I have sent a letter to Mr. Fields about the harassment of the company. I do know that there's big competition downtown. But opening up these routes and opening up more carriage stands will help our safety. It will also eliminate arguments and people having to come before the board here when there are taxpayers out here, that other things could be, you know, brought up to you instead of, you know, he said, she said stuff. You know, and my request, or you know, maybe something for next month, to have an extra permit to be able to be equal, because I'm willing to wait for Mr. Fields to do all his math and do all this stuff. But time is the essence, because I have been in business for 9 years, And I've watched a company that came in at the same time as me receive a permit without having to go before the board. I was told by Brian McCuistion, and Earl Lemoyne was told by Brian McCuistion, that if we came before the board, that we would be subject to lose our license. Now, is that not intimidating to a company to be afraid to come up here before you all and ask you for a second permit, thinking that you're going to lose your license? I think that's against the law for him to do that. And he did that for an intimidation. Now, how come a third carriage permit was issued without Hat Creek going before the board? There's no record of him even doing that. So I think that's why I'm here, and Elizabeth Keats is here, because she operates in Centennial Park. I realize I've taken a lot of your time, but this is my company and my liability and the love of my life. And I think that I should have the same opportunity as Hat Creek. And I believe that Earl Lemoyne should, and I also believe that you should open up these routes and open up the streets so that we're not limited to 20-minute rides. I do 20-minute rides, 30-minute rides, 45-minute rides. But I have to call Diane Marshall to get permission to do that. And I don't think that's right. You know, I've been in business, like I said, since 2004, before they even changed the routes. So that's changed the dynamics of my company. And I think that, you know, before anybody makes any kind of decision on any laws, they should take into consideration that a 20-minute ride is like telling Walmart to sell a shirt for $10 when they have different sizes. It's not right. You shouldn't do it. 45-minute rides and hour rides make our money. Because when I'm there with one carriage sandwiched in with Hat Creek's 3 carriages, I'm only doing 1 ride to their 3. So that hour ride that I take for $100 is better than $30 at their 90 in 20 minutes. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Close the public hearing.
I was going to say, I would be surprised if Mr. Blackwood didn't have a comment.
Me? I come in peace. Thank you, Mr. Fields, Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen. I have a somewhat different perspective on these things because I've been really focused on this for about 13, 14 months. And I've heard all the complaints you've heard today, I've heard in the past. I know what they're talking about. I have had the privilege of meeting with Mr. Fields, who met with some of these carriage operators and me and their attorneys to try to work these things out, to make a peaceable resolution of these things. I think it was last December. That was not entirely effective. During this time period, there have been other issues that have arisen having to do with special permits. That is something that you don't actually deal with on a day-to-day basis, I don't believe. It was mentioned, Ms. Marshall, with the Traffic and Parking Commission. That's where those are addressed. You've heard the old saying that where 2 or more people are in charge, no one's in charge. Well, that is the issue. Having clear lines of authority and having clear criteria, deadlines for things to be done, ways for things to be done, as you've done today and enforced your rules having to do with applications. You have no alternative to, if you're going to be fair to everyone, but to have rules and to expect people to comply with them. That's your duty, and you're doing your duty. But here is the problem. This, as I understand it, this moratorium was instituted about 2004. That's 9 years ago. Now, I don't know who instituted it or who had the authority. I assume it's traffic and parking. I can't get traffic and parking folks even to respond to a letter, a request to me to discuss these things. Ms. Keith, I have the privilege of representing her. She would like to apply for this additional permit. It was not on today, so I didn't come here to make a presentation about her application. She would like to do that. She's been working in Centennial Park, and she would like to begin, at least initially, working downtown. But the problem is, did you ever see those studies when you were in high school or college where you put all those rats into a small place and they start fighting? That's your problem. That's your problem. There are going to be some personality issues. Anytime you have human beings gathered together. There's going to be some personality issues that are involved. But those are going to be significantly exacerbated when you compress them into a small place. I would suggest that people look at the place that I know of that has the most horse-drawn carriages in America, at least that I've seen, and that's Charleston, South Carolina. They have an untold number, far more than they have here, with costume drivers and very elaborate sorts of tours, lengthy tours, very successful tours involving large numbers of people. It's a great benefit to that local economy and to tourism. We have that opportunity. I've been here since 1969. Lower Broad and 2nd Avenue are not the same place as I moved in, as I could observe when I moved here in the fall of 1969. So what needs to happen? Well, first of all, in terms of creating these regulations, there has to be a spirit of fairness and equal application. That's the easiest part. You simply have rules and lines of authority, and you know where to get them. The second thing is, how does this interface with the traffic and parking folks? It's my understanding that Mr. Fields, if he chose to, and I think he, from our conversations, which are entirely possible, friendly I mean, it's not possible for him to simply change the areas by himself in which these routes are permitted. Those routes are unreasonably small. If you're going to take a large number of slow, horse-drawn vehicles and put them in one place, can you think of a more congested place other than the perhaps Nolensville Road and Harding Road, the intersection there? Other than that, what's busier than Lower Broad? There's not enough cab stands, carriage stands for those areas. I think Mr. Fields would like to do something about that, but his hands are tied. Now we have the whole city moving up the hill, moving south, except for the carriages. We have 5th Avenue that goes all the way up to the Capitol now, 2 ways, but doesn't have carriage traffic up there permitted. Now, whether that is a practical solution or not, it's not for me to say. Those are simply examples. But there needs to be an enlarged area. The idea that you can have a moratorium itself means that at some point you're going to have the kinds of misunderstandings that we've discussed today. What could be more inevitable? So I think what I suggested to traffic and parking on permits by letter, to which they did not respond, was that, look, you can put on your website, here's an application for a special permit, here's what I have to give to you to justify it, and here's what I want you to do, and here's a time period within which you should respond to me, and if you deny it, tell me why. Now, what's wrong with that? But there's no response at all. So what does this engender? It engenders a perception of favoritism. I don't think this group here has demonstrated any favoritism that I can see. I don't know why you agreed to serve in this capacity, but aside from that, this may have something to do with mental status, but but I don't think that you're being arbitrary or capricious. I think you have a problem that requires more than the persons in this room to solve, and there needs to be some sort of a consensus gathering, meeting, process of some kind to do it. We don't have, I looked at the agenda, talked about consideration of regulations, but we don't have any regulations on the table today to consider, at least that I've seen published. Maybe there are some, but I'm not here to comment on those. I'm here to comment on a process, and I think this could be a very healthy thing to do, but it needs to start with having carriage operations based upon a 2013, 2014 reality rather than 2004.
Great, thank you. And what's your name again?
Gary Blackburn. I usually say Tom Cruise, but
I'd stick with Blackburn if I were you. Thanks.
I wish that weren't so fun.
Anybody else? All right.
And one thing as I walk out the door, consider anything that you're going to do now for when the AMP comes in place in the routing.
I have one thing, I need that one, would like to ask.
We got one gentleman coming up.
Okay, whatever.
Well, I thought since my name's been mentioned so much in my carriage company, y'all should know who I am. let me say this, what I'm looking for.
Wait, who are you? What company are you with?
Sarah, why don't you tell them who I am?
No, I'd like you
Sam
to,
Roberts
please.
Or
with
Mr.
Hat
Smith,
Creek.
why don't you tell
Come on.
He's the
Hey,
local
up here,
scoundrel.
please.
as far as I'm concerned.
Hat Creek Carriage Tours, Sam Roberts.
Thank you.
I think it'll be really beneficial if we could get it opened up downtown. From the interstate to the river, from Capitol to Division, that would be the excellent area of running it. That would solve a lot of problems, I do believe.
You mean
Half of us would be busy running carriages to hotels and restaurants, the other half would be busy running routes, and we would, if we seen each other, we'd be going in the opposite direction. It's a great idea. I think that's would be the best. Thank you.
You know, people who haven't yet had the opportunity to speak, want to speak, or
So, my interpretation of that is,
Can I just say one thing?
what, is it about horse-drawn
Yes, sir,
carriages?
yes, sir, yes, sir. I'd already spoken to Billy several months ago, maybe as much as a year ago.
It just, you gotta tell us who you are.
I'm sorry, Rick Williams.
We know, but you gotta tell us.
Okay, Rick Williams, Madison, Tennessee. I'm glad y'all bringing this up today. I think it would be great to open it up, and maybe I proposed to Billy, the inner circle of the interstate would be the limit. Because so much is happening here. We've got Germantown, I think that'd be a great place for 2 or 3 carriages. You've got the convention center, we got so much happening that I'm glad y'all are bringing this up. I've discussed it with Billy before, we even talked about council legislation to do it, but we were hoping y'all would get it done here maybe, so I appreciate you bringing it up. Thank you.
Thanks, Rick. Close it?
Sure.
All right.
If everyone has spoken.
Public hearings closed. Thank you all. Lot of issues brought up. Routes, numbers of carriages,
Illegal permits.
legal permits, parking spaces, more permits, moratoriums on permits, ride limits, maybe a few other things.
I can offer some general guidance.
Okay.
I can offer some general guidance, if that
Please.
would help. I think one of the aspects of your role that you have is rulemaking, basically, and kind of expanding upon what the code provides for the various different kinds of vehicles for hire that you regulate. And it says there is imposed upon such commission the authority, power, and duty to adopt, promulgate, and enforce such rules and regulations, carrying out the various different chapters of the Metro Code that regulate different kinds of vehicles for hire, including horse-drawn carriages. It says those rules and regulations which the commission deems necessary for the proper and safe operation of any business providing vehicle for hire services. So that's kind of generally one of the things that you're tasked with. And then it also says that you have the ability to seek advice from the police and from the chief traffic engineer and traffic and parking commission to kind of assist you in concerning matters of public safety and proper traffic control. So a lot of these issues seem to come, kind of within those concerns. There is one of the things that's been mentioned a lot by the people who spoke today is a particular rule that actually is in the horse-drawn carriage rules of the Transportation Licensing Commission, and that's rule number 9, which actually prescribes a specific route. It prescribes the streets they can go on, where they're supposed to turn. It describes the particular route, and that's kind of the default route, I guess, and basically any other special route that the horse-drawn carriage businesses want to use, they have to then seek special permission from whoever it would be appropriate to request it from. In some cases, if they're in a park, that would be parks.
So parks are traffic and parking.
Right, or it can be special events, or it can be the Traffic and Parking Commission generally.
So Billy also mentioned that there is kind of a comprehensive traffic study being done right now, and that I think would specifically include some information that's being studied that would maybe shed some light on these issues as well. Some of what is being discussed might have to go beyond what you all would have authority to do and really would be an ordinance change to Chapter 1254 of the Metropolitan Code. But it seemed like maybe this was an opportunity for you to decide to look at public safety issues like, and there's not anything, I think, in the rules or the code right now that specifies a maximum number of carriages. I think that would be sort of a public safety decision that you would have some discretion to make. Chapter 1254 does, in some instances, give the director kind of some initial discretion to make some of these decisions, but then kind of provides for a right of appeal to the commission, basically, from that level of decision making. So some of the issues might be, you know, kind of like number of carriages that it's safe to have downtown routes, carriage stands. They've certainly talked about that, and you all have the authority in consultation with the Traffic and Parking Commission to approve the routes and the stands. So, you know, you may want to take the opportunity to seek some of the input or look at the traffic study. Certainly, if you're going to promulgate these regulations, you want to do it in a way that's kind of supported by, you know, solid fact-finding and good advice.
So would it be appropriate for us to ask Mr. Fields to work with the group that's on the, and I have to say I'm on that committee, but to work with that committee that's undertaking the traffic study to assist in analyzing these issues?
Yeah, they've actually asked to meet with me. I'm not a part of the committee or the deciders on what's going on. They've asked for to meet with me and talk about issues related to carriages, the taxi cabs. We've also asked them to go ahead and look at, we've had requests for pedicabs. You will have noticed the Pedal Tavern downtown. We've had multiple other kinds of companies that have come to us and asked for regulation, which is, again, a little strange, but I'll remind those that were here a few years ago, that's how we got to this point. The carriage companies came to me and the commission and said, would you regulate us? And that's how we got to where we are today. I think there's a lot of ways we can go, and I think within the authority that you have, the moratorium was established long before I got here. When whether or not it should be there, again, that's a commission issue as far as I'm concerned. I think the idea of what they've talked about, and we talk a lot, not necessarily together, but separately, I think there's merit in opening large zones rather than routes. We've drafted legislation that's being reviewed by legal. I intend to bring it back to you in a public hearing to share with you, but it's pretty simple. I've asked that in the ordinance it says, I think it's pretty clear that it only talks about routes. What I want to do is insert a word, almost any word, I'm recommending zone. And what we could then do is come back to the Traffic and Parking Commission and say, we'd like to develop a zone that could be the interloop. It could also be various zones, and we've talked about this. In fact, part of our meeting in December was talking about maybe as I would call it, a Capitol View tour. You have a Hall of Fame tour, you might have a Gulch tour, you might have a Music Row tour, but basically give people opportunity to disperse, but also give them the opportunity to take somebody to a hotel if they want to go. There was a question at one point, I'm told, that a carriage would be acting like a taxi cab if they were making a run like that, and I don't believe that, and I don't interpret it that way, and I don't think anybody else does, because it's not the same thing. So again, I intend to bring you the legislation. I think it's really close to going to share that. As far as the number of carriages, if I really, and I'll say this, the TV's running, and I've got Channel 2 here and everybody else. What I would say is if I could give out 7 more carriage permits today, and that would solve the problems, I'll grant it. Now, I don't know that would necessarily solve the problem. I think in terms of Ms. Keith, she and I have not met except by telephone and email, a lot of them. I have no problem with her coming downtown and operating. The fact that she's at Centennial Park is it's a long way out. I don't know how the other companies will feel. Some will be against that. Ms. Williams has asked for an additional carriage. You know, I'm not opposed to more carriages being in operation.
Well, if we have additional carriages, yet we need more stands in different routes.
We have had one additional stand
Are we
approved.
creating a log jam before, that we might be able to solve at the same time with the traffic study?
One of the major issues that's going to be a part of the traffic study is looking at the entire downtown area and how all the street parking is used. Now, I do not know what that report's going to say. It's possible that all the sides of all the streets in a particular area could become open, not only for cab stands, but taxi cab stands, carriage stands, and that sort of thing. I mean, the most prudent thing, if everybody's agreeable, is for us to get that study, and if that's the answer, then we've got some real quick answers in terms of capacity downtown. If that's not the answer, we're probably back to where we are now, and I can't predict it because I haven't seen it, because it doesn't exist.
Can we request then that you do that, look at routes and zones and stands and spaces and time limits and carriage limits as well? Is there another item that would be on there? That's 6 items.
That's a pretty full plate. I think unless I look at legal.
And that would include traffic and parking
Sure.
and police, because they're both in there.
I would like, with the commission's approval, because again, I've explained, the only change I would make I'd ask that the Metro Council make to the ordinance is insert the word zone. If the commission is comfortable, I could proceed quicker than waiting until your meeting in September and go ahead and move quickly with our legal staff. And again, it's been studied, and I think their clerks have looked at it and so forth. So I think it's possible, and I think we could introduce it. Of course, it takes 3 readings of council, but I'm prepared that I'd like to move. I can assure you, I spend at least 30% of my time on carriage issues, at least. And we've got to find ways that it's not doing that. And again, dispersion throughout the city, I think, will be very helpful.
Is it possible to ask the organization conducting the traffic study to answer a question for us of what they think after reviewing all the evidence? How many more carriages can downtown handle without directly affecting traffic, public safety?
We could ask that question. I think we'd have to know what we mean by down. We'd have to define what we think downtown is. If we were to ask them the question on what it is today, could we absorb more? I think without any changes, probably the answer is no without even asking. But if it's an issue of is there a way to open a larger part of Nashville to carriages and other stands in other areas, I think we could ask that in a broad sense.
I think that'd be the question.
I would assume that if you went from the river to the interstate, it would not only spread these guys out, but they're not so close either. And I've been down there on Lower Broadway and seen 2-3 carriages at one spot, and it's tough. I mean, there's a lot of traffic impact, so.
Okay, so we can do that. Do we need a motion to ask the...
What you may want to do is just kind of, just give this constituency basically kind of some notice that, we are looking at this issue in the future, or the commission is, and that, you're going to avail yourself of your opportunity to receive the input from the consultant's report, receive the input of the chief engineer, the traffic and parking commission, and Metro Police if they have some safety input. I know that Mr. Fields regularly consults with all of those people, and so he will, be able to bring that to you, or if you want to have actually some of that input, be the subject of a commission meeting, you can probably arrange that as well. With that feedback, if you want to consider promulgating additional rules to address these issues, I think that you have the authority under the code to do that. So I think it would really be kind of a formal request to take a look at that issue and move forward.
So we need that formal request.
If you plan to take action and instruct Mr. Fields to follow up on all of that.
That seems appropriate. Do we need a motion to that effect?
Do you want your motion to be to kind of wait until you have the opportunity to have the benefit of all of that input?
I believe it is, to study the routes and the zones and the stands and the spaces, the moratoriums and the time limits, and to get input from traffic and parking and the police department, that expertise, and then to proceed from that point forward.
I think that's it.
All right.
Is that on changing the word zone in the rules?
The word zone is actually in the ordinance itself, so council would have to change that. Right now, you guys, with the consultation of the Traffic and Parking Commission, can change the route that's specified in Rule 9. But that doesn't address the larger zone issue. You know, there's no reason that shouldn't be a possibility if that's consistent with public safety and flow of traffic, but the code provision would actually have to be changed. That would require an ordinance. The council would probably look to you all to make a recommendation on that ordinance change. So that would probably come before you in a public hearing for that reason. But ultimately, the council would have to adopt that change before you could do zones as opposed to routes.
Mr. Chairman, may I ask, would it be appropriate for them to consider, I mean, because we won't take a rule, but to ask them to consider, asking the Metro Council to make a change, to add the word zone, to broaden their opportunity, to broaden the Traffic and Parking Commission's authority, or would I need to bring back the exact legislation?
I think it would be better to have a draft of legislation and bring it before the commission.
All right. So, who of us wants to ask Mr. Fields to do this?
40% of my time. Go ahead. I'm happy to do that.
I wish you could have voted, Tom.
I'm going to write down what you once said.
You can go from that.
Okay. I would like to make a motion that we ask Mr. Fields to help us understand better through his consultations the routes, zones, stands, spaces, moratorium, time limits, input, and get input from the traffic and parking and the police department on how that affects carriage stands and horse-drawn carriages moving forward.
I have a motion.
A second.
And a second. Is there any discussion?
Great job.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Good luck, Mr. Fields. We look forward to getting that back and basically providing better service and have more opportunities. I think that's what we're all after. Is there anything else we need to cover on horse-drawn carriages?
I would like to thank all those who came up here and spoke today for presenting yourselves orderly, politely. You know, this is the forum to bring forward your complaints, issues, and suggestions, and I thank you for doing it in an orderly manner today.
Helps us out. Is there anything left on the agenda at this point?
You had asked me to place a discussion of your meeting dates on the agenda because we needed to move this particular meeting date. You asked me to investigate, was it possible? It is possible to move the meeting date. The biggest problems that we're going to have are issues with Channel 3 as well as the room at times.
Let's keep them the same.
You don't have to take any action and they stay the same.
Unless people object.
Okay. So keep them the same, would that be Thursdays?
Thursdays.
I have a list of the companies, but I don't know how many permits they have.
I'd be happy to be available to any one of the commissioners separately because you can't meet together, but I'll be happy to meet with you, discuss the routes, discuss the regulations, and look at the rules. Share, and while I'm not saying I'm necessarily liked by all the people, I think they generally trust that I'm not going to lie about things they've told me.
At least you're not
so I would
disliked.
share, well, right, not on television. But we'd certainly share that back with any of the commissioners that would like to know that. I'll also follow your direction and go to I'll meet with the committee, I think Thursday morning, and
Okay.
we'll go from there.
Great. Any other business?
Yeah, I was hoping we could do it together, but it doesn't work like that.
All right. Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
I don't think by Robert's Rules of Order we need a second or action on that. Thank you.